Thanks for joining us today. My name is Tina Cartwright and I'm course leader of the MSc Health Psychology, but today I'm going to be talking about all of our courses and tell you a little bit about our department as well. And then I'll answer your questions at the end of the session. So first of all, why come to the University of Westminster to study one of our master's courses? First of all, we're right in the centre of London, so you're in close proximity to many of London's attractions from museums, theatre, to libraries and even shopping. This is the Department of Psychology and some of our student social space as well. So our department has been recently refurbished into a very light-filled space, and so this is where you can meet with staff. All the staff are together in on one floor in the psychology department, and we recently won a public sector award for the interior design of the department for its being very conducive to study and academic work. Most of important, though, is the people who are going to teach you on the course. So you'll be taught by academics who are passionate about their subject. And we very much focus on linking between the research that we do. We're all very research active, and linking the research with the teaching for the courses, for all of the courses that we offer. We have very strong links with a variety of external organisations, from National Health Trusts to charities and other organisations. And a number of our staff are involved in public engagement as well. So, for example, in media presentations and so on. And we have wonderful technical support as well. So that's Howler, the picture in the corner, who's one of our much valued technicians, who's also won an award for her technical support. So you're very supported here by both academic staff and technical staff as well. So I'm going to be talking today about the 4 master's courses that we offer here at Westminster. So these are the course leaders for each of the programs. So also, if there's any questions that you have later on, you can email your questions to the course leaders. So I'm going to start off with talking about the MSc Psychology, which is our conversion course, and the course leader is Rosemary Snellgar. So this is one of our most popular courses, and really it's for those who have already done a degree but not in psychology. So the MSc Psychology degree enables you to gain GBC, graduate basis for chartership with the British Psychological Society. So that enables you to follow a career then in psychology if you wish to do further training to become a psychologist in a range of different areas. So entry requirements, so you need a degree, ideally a 2-1, but we do consider other 2-2s if you've got some experience and so on. And we ask for competence in maths as well, because there is quite a statistical component of psychology. So moving on to careers, that's something we're often asked about. And our students go on to a number of different careers. Sometimes, as I said, they might go on to further training to become a clinical psychologist, an occupational psychologist, and so on. Or you may take a more academic route and move to a research position within psychology. And of course, a master's degree also sets you up very well for general employability and career development. So a bit of background to the Masters in Psychology. We developed the Masters in 2012, but we actually had a graduate diploma in psychology for a number of years before that. So the MSc Psychology was really developed from the original graduate diploma. In terms of attendance, all of the courses that I'm going to talk about today can either be taken full-time over 1 year or part-time over 2 years. And currently the modules run on Wednesday and Friday. So all of the master's courses run over, by and large, over 2 days. So you do a module in the morning and a module in the afternoon of each day. And obviously for part-time, over 2 years, it's 1 day per week. And just to kind of highlight that, you might think, well, 2 days a week full time, that's not too much. I can work, I can work at the same time. It is very intensive study. So we do expect you to spend around 7 hours per module on self-study during this period. So it is intensive. This is, I think it's always good when talking about our courses to reflect on what our students say. Perhaps that's the best judge of the course. So this is a recent graduate who has talked about, the challenging nature but rewarding nature of undertaking the Master's in Psychology degree and the support that she received on the course. So what are the aims of this course? The main aim really is to facilitate and educate students who don't have a psychological background and really cover the equivalent to an undergraduate degree and beyond to a higher level in 1 year. And this will then enable you to gain GBC, as I talked about at the beginning. So the course structure, I'm going to briefly present the course structure of each of the courses, but all of much more detailed information about the course structure and the modules and what make up the modules is available on the internet. So do have a look for the courses that you're interested in. Just to sort of highlight a few points. So there's 7 core modules. And there are two modules based on design. So one on quantitative design, one on qualitative design. Just to highlight the importance that we place on research methods. You also can take an option module, and there's quite a choice of modules that you can take, ranging from work experience, if you want to gain some experience of working in the psychological field. Literature review and communication skills, and there are also other modules available to you as well, depending on your interests. So teaching is very varied. Like for all of the courses, there's a whole range of different sessions, from lectures, more traditional lectures, to kind of group work, to practical sessions. And we also have departmental research seminars available to all of our students and practitioner courses to help guide you to a career that might suit you. Again, there's a range of different assessment methods, hopefully which tap into a whole range of different skills depending on your strengths, from wikis to reports to essays, and also several exams as well. These are some comments from our external examiner, highlighting that a very high number of our students on this course gain distinctions and produce some really excellent projects which are deemed potentially publishable. So moving on to the MSc Health Psychology. So that's me in the corner there. So I'm the course leader of MSc Health Psychology. This course is very well established. It first began in 1995 and has been accredited by the BPS since 1999. It has changed considerably over this time. Originally it was taught in the evenings, but now it's daytime, currently running Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, full-time is 1 year, part-time 2 years. The part-time mode, you begin in year 1, it's on Tuesdays, and in year 2, it's on Wednesday. So the principal aims of this course is to promote an evidence-based approach to both the study, so kind of the kind of research element of health psychology, but also the practice of health psychology. So there's very much a balance of kind of knowledge and gaining practical applied skills. And we really emphasise the importance of learning how to communicate to a wide range of audiences, as you would wish to do if you want to eventually become a health psychologist. So ranging from students to health professionals, and also kind of reflecting on your own performances. And a kind of, another aim is to develop core skills necessary for subsequent training. So if you want to go on to do stage 2 training to become a health psychologist. And what we've really done in the last couple of years is to increase the amount of practical skills training. So we look at kind of developing skills in CBT and mindfulness and other techniques like motivational interviewing. So why might you study health psychology? One reason you might study health psychology is because you want to become a health psychologist. So the MSc confers stage 1 towards becoming a health psychologist, providing that you already have a degree that confers GBC, to the graduate basis for chartership, i.e. a psychology degree recognised by the BPS. That would then enable you to continue your training in stage 2. If you're interested in this, I'd recommend that you look at the BPS website, which gives much more information about stage 2 training. At the end of this training, you would then be able to call yourself a health psychologist and register with the Health Profession Council. But many of our students don't want to become health psychologists, and so there's various different career pathways. It may be some students undertake a master's in health psychology to become a clinical or counselling psychologist. They want to go into research or do a PhD. Or you may already be working within a health setting and want to develop your career. So our students go into a whole range of different professions, mainly in the kind of health domain. So the course structure, so it's predominantly core modules. So the first 4 modules, so from theories and perspectives to specialist topics, are in the semester 1 if you're full-time, and the remaining 3 are in semester 2. So although these are kind of core modules, they do enable quite a lot of flexibility to reflect your interests as students. So for example, in specialist topics, you can choose topics that are specifically of interest to you in order to in producing a systematic review and grant proposal. That's the kind of forms of assessment for this module. So there is a lot of flexibility within modules to choose aspects of health psychology that are particularly interesting to you or perhaps relate to your working environment. Recently, we have added the option to, instead of taking a 60 credit research-based project, you are able to take a 40 credit project as well as undertaking a 20 credit work experience module if you want to gain some experience in a health psychology setting. And you can choose this kind of part way through the first semester. As well as the core teaching, we recognise that professional development is really important to you, and we arrange additional workshops that are very much kind of practice-based, both for your own personal development, but also for your career development to enhance your kind of practical skills. So these are the kind of workshops that we have arranged for next year. So we work in collaboration with other departments and organisations. So we have a Centre of Resilience at the University of Westminster, and they'll be running a day workshop looking at how you can build resilience techniques and skills that you can use personally in everyday life, but also you can use in a working environment. Similarly, we've been asked over the years to provide more therapeutic skills, and so we have a workshop with a health psychology consulting company who help you develop the skills necessary for working one-to-one with clients, and also coaching support both for yourself and for within the workplace. So coming on to assessment, our assessment tools, our assessment methods for the modules have been consistently praised by our external examiners for their variety and their application to professional life. So we have a variety of assessment methods. I won't go into talking about them all now, but ranging from designing a poster and presenting a conference poster to your peers, being part of an expert panel, writing your project is written up as a peer review paper. So we do encourage you to publish those papers if it's of an appropriate standard. So the emphasis really is very much about transferable skills. And we encourage our students to present at conferences and publish where appropriate. So again, coming to what our students actually say about the course, Sigrun was a graduate from a couple of years ago now and has gone on to train in clinical psychology. And she had a background in, as well as psychology, in kind of a real interest in diet and promoting healthy diet. Azarul came from Bangladesh and had a full scholarship. So it is definitely worth checking out the scholarships webpage to see whether there's any scholarships that might be appropriate for your studies. And he had a particularly enjoyable time living in London, has gone back to Bangladesh and become a lecturer over there. So if you're interested in applying, further information can be found on the web. So generally we do ask for a 2-1 in psychology, but we will consider 2-2s with appropriate experience. And also we do consider non-standard applicants who might have a lot of health background, but perhaps less psychology background. So do contact us if you want further information. So moving on to MSc Cognitive Rehabilitation. And this is quite a new course and was developed really in kind of response to requests from our students, particularly that they wanted more practical and applied skills, and often an interest arising from wanting to do clinical psychology. So the course really also reflected the team's experiences in research and the need for interdisciplinary research and understanding. So the real emphasis of this course is it's an applied course and it's very practical. So you're really learning how to do assessments and how to design interventions. So it's taught by a number of lecturers with clinical experience as well as research and theoretical knowledge. So the aims of the course are to provide students from psychology, from cognitive science, biology, and a range of different backgrounds. So it's quite a varied, students have quite varied backgrounds. So first of all, looking at the theoretical basis of cognitive rehabilitation, but also developing the skills to apply that knowledge base to interventions within cognitive rehabilitation, and the kind of academic and research skills to evaluate and then develop those interventions or modify those interventions. So just a quick definition of what cognitive rehabilitation is. So it's focusing on the processes by which cognitive impairments can be assessed and targeted. So, you know, how we can actually improve the quality of life of people with cognitive impairments. So the course is very much built around a kind of interdisciplinary approach. So the team members, or the course team, have links with a number of different centres and charities, which are really kind of central to the kind of the teaching of the course and the kind of case studies that are provided throughout the course. So what kind of outcomes might you expect if you undertake the MSc in Cognitive Rehabilitation? So as well as the kind of academic and theoretical knowledge base that you would expect from kind of a master's course, you will also have hands-on experience, and that's really key to this course, and that's the emphasis. So you will have experience of carrying out and reporting on neuropsychological assessments, an understanding of the biological basis of cognitive processes, and as I've been talking about, then you will also be able to design and evaluate interventions within these client groups, and be able and facilitated to present to a whole wide range of different audiences. So this is the modules for Cog Rehab, and you'll see that a couple of modules overlap with those I talked about in MSc Health Psychology. So we do share 2 modules, so that's data handling for applied psychologists, so basically kind of research methods, and specialist topics as well as another option. So one benefit of that is that you have the opportunity to mix with students on other courses as well. We have around 100 postgraduate students, so we do really encourage students to mix, so that the kind of sharing of modules facilitates this. So coming again to assessment, again, there's a very varied range of assessments on this module, really focusing on engaging students and developing skills that are valuable in the cognitive rehabilitation setting. So ranging from writing an article for a science magazine to creating online resources, information leaflets, role plays, conferences. So a really wide range of skills are developed throughout the course. So the emphasis is very much on real-world application, so that you'll be able to go into the workplace with confidence and relevant skills. So this is from Mazel, a recent graduate, talking about her experiences of the course, and particular strength of the course. Focus is on mindfulness techniques, and how much she enjoyed the course. So finally, I come to the MSc Business Psychology. So this was the first course of its kind in the UK, first established in 1998, and is accredited by the Association of Business Psychologists. And the aims of the course are really to identify key areas of organisational dysfunction. And the course looks at kind of individual differences, the way in which individuals, teams and organisations work together, or how they're the kind of interplay between these three levels, and how you might improve performance and quality of life in the workplace by understanding these at a deeper level. So why study business psychology? It's got quite a unique course structure. I'm going to talk a bit more in a moment about the business psychology model that has been developed by the business psychology team. So the lecture blocks are 3 hours and very much promote engagement, student engagement and involvement. So they're kind of equally divided into kind of the theoretical material, how that theoretical material can be applied, and the practical exercises to really kind of embed that knowledge. So the business psychology course is very much linked with the big business psychology centre. And this really provides real life examples and case studies of research and consultancy within the workplace. And that very much feeds into the structure and content of the course. And there's also links with research and knowledge transfer programs run by the Business Psychology Centre. So there's real kind of hands-on contact with knowledge transfer and ongoing kind of research projects. So this is the kind of underpinning model for business psychology, and this underlies the course. So kind of running through very briefly this model. It starts with the individual. So there's a focus on individual differences and potential kind of strengths and weaknesses come from that. And then in the second step, that information is used to build teams that are resilient and can make the most of differences between individuals. But this can lead to areas of conflict. So that's the kind of third level of conflict resolution and how that might be dealt with. Following this, so step 4, then the course looks into ways of decision making that are robust and prevent the kind of individual biases. So all of these factors then feed into the kind of final stage of competence. So on the one hand, the course looks at kind of how to establish a competent organisation, but from a kind of individual and via the team to the overall organisational level. So the steps of this model are then used partly to build a positive and resilient working environment and as tools for interventions, but also as anchors for organisational diagnostics, which is the kind of arrow at the bottom. So as you'll see from looking at the course structure, it very much maps onto that business model, leading really to your final research project that will tap into the application of that business model. As with the other courses, there's one optional module that can be based on management, human resources, or communication and presentation skills. As well as the core teaching or the core content of the course, there's a whole range of additional events and workshops and practitioner and networking events that students are encouraged to attend, both at the University of Westminster and kind of externally as well. So the course very much focuses on the large network of practitioners from the business centre and their engagement, and using tools such as psychometrics and other tools for organisational diagnostics. So again, a wide range of assessments are used, and again, teaching effective communication over a wide range of different mediums, is central really to business psychology. So that's a very brief summary of each of our courses. So now we would like to take any questions.
Thank you for everyone who asked a question. We can only answer so many of them. We've actually got quite a few. We probably won't be able to get to them by the end of the hour. But we'll get started with a question about how are the semesters splitted, and do you have time for internships during the holidays, or is it possible to work during the full-time course?
Okay, so there's 2 semesters running from kind of September to December. Then obviously you have the Christmas holidays and you begin again in January. And the teaching finishes in around kind of April time. And then then it's the exam period, depending on how many exams you have, which varies according to the course. So over the summer period, obviously you continue with your research project. But there's certainly the opportunity to you couldn't work full time during the course, but you could do gain some work experience. But you just really it's really about judging, or balancing your coursework and assessments and so on with the time that you have to gain work experience. So it's certainly possible, but you've got to kind of get that balance. And again, over the summer, obviously you have a lot more time. And potentially you might be able to have an internship that also links with your kind of project area. So there's lots of different ways of kind of managing it. And obviously it's great to get some experience, especially if you have some links. So.
Okay, and another question about the cognitive rehabilitation course. Does it have any external accreditation, such as with the British Psychological Association? Society? Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have accreditation because the BPS doesn't have accreditation for this type of course. And obviously, not all of the students necessarily have a psychology background. So it's a little bit different to some of the other courses.
Okay. And can you give some examples of what student career destinations have been after doing the MSc conversion in psychology?
Okay, yeah. I mean, really, it's extremely diverse because obviously that it's quite a large course. So students really go on to do all sorts of different things, from forensic psychology to PhDs to research to clinical psychology, or to working in the work sector. So it's really quite varied, depending often on previous backgrounds and kind of students' interests. So some go on to further study to become psychologists. Others, may even kind of carry on with their kind of previous sort of occupation. So it's so varied. It's kind of difficult to answer, but yeah.
And can you give some information of the academic interests of the lecturers who will be teaching for the MSc conversion in psychology?
Okay, again, a sort of similar answer in many ways. We have over 30 academic staff, with a kind of range of different research interests and activities. So, and on the MSc Psychology conversion degree, many of us teach. So you'll probably see most of the department at some point. So I think that's a real strength of the course, because you really get to see the research that we all do. So you'll get a taste of all of our areas of research, and which, with kind of 30 plus, about 35 members of staff, that's really quite broad.
And the last question for the moment, so please do send more questions if you do have any. For the Cognitive Rehabilitation Masters, would you need practical statistical and experimental design experience in order to study on the course?
Ideally, yes. I mean, it does really help. Obviously, with the research methods module, you are having to go to quite a high level of statistical skills and knowledge. So it does help if you've got that background. But there are various ways in which you can manage that kind of the need for some experience. So you can do some additional work beforehand. So we recommend books to read, and also that there's quite a lot of online activities that you can use to kind of practice. We do also provide kind of pre-course statistical support, and also in the early when you've first started the research methods module, we can provide some additional support for those who are quite new to research design. So yeah, it's best if you have, but you can do some preparation to kind of help you through that if you don't.
Okay, got another question here. Mm-hmm. So how much guidance will be given on our project for the MSc in psychology? Do we get much one-to-one time with our lecturer?
Absolutely, yes. So for all of the courses, you choose a supervisor, and ideally aligned with your research interests. We allow quite a lot of freedom in your choice of research area. In fact, we encourage you to follow your own kind of interests and passions. And yes, you get one-to-one supervision as is needed, really. Yeah. So in fact, that's a requirement of undertaking the research project.
We do have the slide open about the course leaders. So if you do have any questions about a specific course or your question didn't get answered today, then please do email the course leader, the relevant course leader, and they'll get back to you about whatever question you have. So the first question is, how many people are accepted roughly for each master's course per year?
It's quite variable per course, but just to give you kind of very rough estimates, the biggest master's is the MSc Psychology, which normally has between 40 and 60 students per year. And obviously those that's broken down into smaller groups when you're taught. So you have like seminar groups of around 20. For the other courses, they probably range from 12 to 25 on average. It varies a little bit from year to year and from course to course, but just to give a very rough estimate.
Okay. Would the cognitive rehabilitation course be applicable for a career in research, for example, in neuroscience, or is it better suited to practical clinical settings?
It's certainly suitable for either career path. Obviously, there is a very strong research element in, as well as the teaching of kind of practical applied skills. And in fact, one of our recent graduates has just got a studentship for a PhD. So yes, either route is appropriate.
Another question is asking about how many busy days per week would the business psychology course, but this could be applicable to any course, would you have per week, and how the modules would be distributed over a year?
Yeah, so I think, as I sort of said it when I was talking about the different courses, that most of the courses, all of the courses have their core modules on 2 days. If you're taking an optional module, obviously that might be on a different day. Each module is a 3-hour block. For all of for business psychology as well as others, and you normally have 2 blocks per day. So that's the general organisation.